back again at Fort Wilderness, this time for the archery experience. I don't think I've ever done archery before, so this is going to be entirely new to me. And from what I understand, it should be the same men who attended, and led us in the Segway tour this morning. So I'm going to head over toward the bike barn over by the Meadows Trading Post. I'm at the parking lot right now. I have to take a bus back there, and then I'll check back in. I'm here at the bike barn to check in for the archery experience, trying to get bike barn up in there at Fort Wilderness Campground. Let me get the sun in my eyes. So as soon as I check in, I'll get to do the experience. From what I understand, they don't allow cameras in there, but I think I head over to the door over here where they have the bows and arrows. I saw them there this morning, and I'm sure we'll be headed out somewhere that we can shoot them. Came in for the archery experience, so the same space where we learned how to ride the Segway is now the setup for archery class. You see the targets in there. First things we learn are about safety and the drum commands. 2 beats, we have to go get our bow. 1 beat, we shoot on the 1 beat. 3 beats, we go back to get our arrows from the targets. And 5 beats means to stop. No matter what you're doing, stop, because there's a safety issue. This is the area where we're going to have our practice. I'm in the black dress. I'm putting my arrows up on the line. It's about 5 yards away from the target. 2 drum beats. We have to go get our bows. All 5 of us in our line are going to get our bows right now. Once we have the bow, we return back to the line that's about 5 yards away from the target, and we rest the bow on the top of our foot. We rest the bottom of our bow on the top of our foot until we hear that 1 drum beat that signifies we're supposed to shoot. Once we get that 1 drum beat, you'll see us bend down to get our arrows and load our bow, preparing for shooting. So there I am. Yep, 1 drum beat, getting ready to load my bow. I had my camera off to the side so it wouldn't interfere with anyone moving around any steps, so people wouldn't feel uncomfortable. So the view isn't quite the best, but you get a sense for what it is that we're doing during class. And in loading the bow, we've already learned how to load it, how to hold the bow, how to release the bow, where our hands should go, where our elbows should be. And I'm in the process of doing that now, trying to figure out how to aim towards the target, because there are no sights on the bow. There's nothing like on a gun where you have a sight and you can kind of figure out where the center is and what you're shooting at. This is more by trial and error. And the instructor was great, came around to us individually to give us tips, and he was telling me I was aiming too high. I needed to go lower. He constantly was saying to me, 6 inches lower, 6 inches lower. And my arm just kept going back up 6 inches. And there were a couple of times that I shot and just didn't hit the target at all. And then there were a few times that I hit the target with all 3 arrows. Each time we went up on our line to shoot, we all had 3 arrows, so we had 3 chances each time we shot. And now that we're finished shooting, we had to go put our bows back and wait for the next signal, which is going to be 3 beats to go get our arrows. So he's waiting for all 5 of us to, well, actually, I should say I see a little girl still back there shooting. The other instructor was taking a lot of time with the younger children to make sure that they were comfortable. They weren't rushing them, they weren't giving them any pressure, but we had to wait for all of us to put our bows back before we could hear our go get the arrows, the 3 beats. So now we walk up to the line. There's a wooden, kind of like a railroad tie thing, that once we're all up at that line as a team, then we're told we can actually go up to our target and pull the arrows out. And there's a certain way you have to do it, where when you brace your left hand on the target, grab the arrow with your right hand, and look to make sure there's no one around. And then you pull it out, even the arrows out together on the top of the target, put them back in the cone, and that's my cone, my arrows, so I would bring it back to my spot. Now I'm up again to shoot, but this time, I think that was a 10-yard line. We shoot from farther back, and it's the same process. We're following the same commands of the 2 beats, 1 beat, 5 beats, 3 beats, and we're all shooting together, and we're all waiting for everyone to finish. There's no time limit. You could see that arrow hit the gray curtain behind my target, so I completely missed the target. But they were so good about giving us instruction making sure that we understood how to hit that target. I still have a bruise on my forearm, my left forearm, the one that I'm holding my bow with, because every time I released that string, the bow, it snapped on my forearm. And I told my instructor about it. He said, you know what? Every time you go to aim, and you have your arrow there and you have your aim and you've pulled back, before you release, the last thing you do is pop your elbow out a little bit to the, like you turn your arm. So you have your stiff arm out in front of you and just give it a little turn to the right to kind of move that forearm out of the way so that the bow doesn't snap and hit it, because it really hurts. It can smart. You get a nice little welt there on your forearm. So they were full of great tips. We're going to retrieve our arrows now. So the whole process repeats itself. I feel like we went up there no less than 10 times, 10 opportunities to take arrows, to shoot at the target, to practice the skill. And it did get better. The more times that I went up there, the better each one got. And the instructor joked and said, by tomorrow it would be perfect. And you know what? I wouldn't have been perfect, but I would have been much better than when I started. I suppose that's typical, but at the same time, you can really see the improvement that happens with having that much opportunity to aim your bows at the target. My closing thoughts are that this was a well worth it experience. The price was $49. There was no DVC discount, no AP discount. But I do feel that I got my money's worth. I think it was time well spent. It was something new that I was able to learn. I could see the improvement. There were enough opportunities to test that new skill, to understand more about the safety of archery. And it was a beautiful day. It was a great way to spend some time at Fort Wilderness. The one warning, as with any activities at Fort Wilderness that you're going to do, if you're not staying there, allow plenty of time for transportation. It's not only the typical allow a certain amount of time from wherever you're at to get to Fort Wilderness, but once you're at Fort Wilderness, you still have to take a bus into the Fort Wilderness campground. You wait at the bus stop that's near the main parking lot at Fort Wilderness, and there are different buses that will take you back to Meadows Trading Post area or the Bike Barn area. So you have to wait for that right bus, and I would just allow an extra half hour to do this. If anyone else has experienced this archery experience class, I'd love to hear about it. Please write some comments below. Oh, so that was a lot of fun. These guys are terrific. The archery area behind me. And I'm finished. It was, started 2:45. It's 3:55 right now. This runs 2:45 from Tuesday through Saturday. And you sign up at the Bike Barn, sign up online. $45 per person. I believe that's without tax. There was no DVC discount. This was a great way to spend a little more than an hour.
Jump into the car.